objective was to do quality journalism. Now I think journalism has really gone down the drains because people are just trying to, a lot of people ask questions and make a name for themselves, but it's not really honest. You know, it's not really honest approach. You know, they don't care about the answers, and people focus primarily on the surface topics and interests, and don't really dig in deep and go in depth to a person to find out what makes that person tick or what brought them to that point. And back then, that's what we were doing with the All Eyes on, and 50 Cent was the first one we did.
50 Cent mania is in full effect.
Follow me, I'm gonna show you how to do this right here.
My man 50 Cent.
It was so easy for me to do because I was so into what he was, you know, that Get Rich or Die Trying album was just classic to me. And him and I just had a real, you know, he was an enigma. Nobody knew what to think of him at that time, and we just had a real open and honest, what I felt to be an honest conversation, you know, about religion, about his life, about the rap game, about all of it. And I think that really kind of set a tone for kind of like a Howard Cosell, Muhammad Ali type dynamic. And there's only a few people I feel like I've established that with in the years, and I feel like he was one of them. We had played, you know, a lot of his early music on the Wake Up Show, including How to Rob used to be one of my favorite songs. You know, and that was a controversial record. And then my buddy Rich Nice knew 50 from working with him with the Trackmasters, and, you know, said, hey, would you do this? And I was like, man, I love to do the dude, man. Do this interview. He's a underdog, you know, the dude, you know, he struggled to get to the point, you know, even to that point in the game for so many years. It just seemed like nobody was giving him a chance. I was from the West Coast, so I really didn't know what his legacy was with guys. I didn't know who hated him or who loved him or what the thing was. I just thought, man, the dude talented, I like him. So we did that interview. I remember one question I asked him, because it was right after 9/11, and I was like, yo, man, so for you, what was the biggest, you know, impact that 9/11 had on you? Man, without hesitation, he said, man, the price of Coke went up. I was like, what? Yeah, man, because of that, you got more security around the ports, the borders, so on and so forth, so it makes it more of a risk to get, you know, anything brought into the city. And I was like, what? Where is this going, right? And then it was just the craziest answer I ever had at that time. Because he had did all these records that, you know, it seemed like, yo, this dude isn't scared to diss anybody. And at that time, that wasn't what was cool to do, man. People didn't go that far. Pac was the only person who went that far prior to him. And I said, man, are you ready for the backlash you're going to receive? You got an arsenal for that? He said, man, I got a song for every top rapper in the game. Jay-Z, Nas, whoever you name, or every, just in case. Because I'm making these kind of songs, and if they come at me, I got to be able to fire back.
Mr. Kanye West is in the building. Yeah, straight out of Chi-Town. We got a chance to...
We did an All Eyes On interview with Kanye, and it was right after the Roc-A-Fella breakup, which was disheartening, man. I think people thought the Rock was going to stay together forever, man. And at that time, Dame Dash was championing him. It was Dame who, more so than anybody else that I saw, at least that I personally witnessed, that really championed Kanye, you know, everywhere he went. And you could just see Dame was there, and Dame was talking him up. And then, of course, Jay, Dame championed it, Jay supported it as well because they were a partnership. But, you know, just in terms of what I saw, Dame was the one who was always, it seemed from what I saw, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but from what I personally saw, Dame was always there. And two things came out of that interview that I think were milestone moments for Kanye West in his career at that time. One of which, we got into a conversation about homophobia in hip-hop, and he spoke out against homophobia, saying that we're too homophobic. And you know, if I think he might have mentioned he had a cousin or somebody that was, I believe, that was gay, and he wouldn't love the person any less because of it. And we have very homophobic tendencies when it comes to hip-hop. And when he made that statement, man, that thing was like the blast heard all around the world, man. That thing, people picked up on that. It went viral extremely quickly in newspapers and websites and, you know, news outlets all picked up on that excerpt. The other statement he made is, I remember asking him about the breakup with Roc-A-Fella and putting a question to him about Dame Dash and his involvement in his career and what role did he play, and him explaining that, and then also asking him, well, with all that Dame has done, do you feel like you betrayed him by siding with Jay-Z instead of going with Dame Dash? And he paused. I don't think he expected the question, but he paused and he thought about it, and it was a real pregnant pause. And I was thinking, do I interrupt this pause? You know, or do you know, we were like recording it, and I was like, nah, man, this is just a real moment. I'm gonna let the pause breathe. Sometimes you gotta let a moment breathe. And he said yes, and he said it. And I think when he did say it, it was liberating in a sense because he told the truth. You know, as he saw it, he said, yes, I do feel like I betrayed Dame. The official Guru statement.
Yeah.
Who wrote this, first of all?
Guru wrote some of it himself. Some of it he was able to write.
Solar, that was sad. That was a sad. That was probably one of the most emotional interviews I've ever done. Was that one? Was Solar. That was a really sad interview. It was just a lot of things he said that just didn't seem right. Of course, didn't sound right, and the body language seemed interesting, you know, and a lot of peculiarities about the dynamic that just didn't seem right, and a lot of things about that last will and the testament that Guru supposedly allegedly wrote, didn't seem right. But, you know, at the same time, I had to ask the questions and I had to accept his answers. I wasn't trying to condemn. I wasn't trying to be the judge and jury with him. I was just trying to do the best interview I could so that Guru's fans could have some type of, I don't know, satisfaction out of it or closure, yeah, so they could have some type of closure. I don't know the dynamic of what their relationship was, so it's not really for me to say, you know. I know when I saw Guru that last time, I've never seen him quite like that. He looked really happy. I'm not saying it's because of Solar. I don't know what that dynamic was. I heard a lot of stories that I couldn't even talk about from really close friends of mine that were close to Guru and that whole situation that just were horror stories. I don't know if they were true or not, but they seemed pretty believable. But I think what was most sad for me, too, other than Guru's passing and the impact that it had on his family and his fans, was just finding out, you know, the division between Guru and Primo. Like that whole part of the story was just like, oh, disheartening for me, man. That was just really hard to really bear with. Just like, and we're all grown people, you know, but, you know, and grown adults, but you never know what happens behind closed doors. And the fact that Gang Starr, you know, that they never got to resolve their issues in the end is really sad to me. You know, as just as a hip-hop enthusiast, and the way Guru died was sad to me. And the fact that I had to sit down and do that interview with that man like that was sad to me. But I give him props because, you know what, he sat through it. And he sat through it. And, you know, I don't feel like I went as hard as I could have with him. You know, I know I didn't. There was questions that came to my head that I just said I'm not going to ask that because I didn't want to create a witch hunt, you know. That was already there. I wanted to give him an honest, fair shot at answering a lot of questions.